Hey there, fellow investors. Welcome back to Investing Talk Podcast. I was scrolling through the markets today and something really caught my eye. I just had to share it with you. Salarius Pharmaceuticals, that's SLRX, for those of you following along. They saw their stock price absolutely explode today. We are talking a surge of nearly 200%. To be exact, 194.57% in a single day. Crazy right now. Before today, you might not have even heard of Salarius Pharmaceuticals, but
Right.
trust me, after this move, they are definitely on the radar.
Yeah, it is pretty wild, isn't it? What's even more fascinating is that this surge comes right after SLRX hit its lowest point in the past year, a 52-week low of $1.24 back in December. That's a 74.29% drop over the past 12 months. So what on earth could cause such a dramatic turnaround? Well, buckle up because this is where things get interesting.
Okay, I'm all ears. What happened?
Salarius announced they're merging with a company called Decoy Therapeutics.
Decoy Therapeutics. I'm not familiar with them. What do they do?
Decoy Therapeutics is an AI-driven drug development company. They're really shaking things up in the world of pharmaceuticals. They specialize in something called peptide conjugate drug design. And they've developed this unique AI platform to do it. It's called IMP3ACT. Essentially, they're using the power of artificial intelligence to design new drugs. And that has huge potential.
Okay, so artificial intelligence designing drugs, that's pretty cutting edge.
Right.
We see mergers all the time in the pharma space. What makes this one so special that SLRX stock practically doubled in a day?
Well, this isn't your run-of-the-mill merger. In this deal, Decoy stockholders will actually end up owning the majority of the combined company, 86% to be exact. And get this, the new company is going to operate under the Decoy name. That's a pretty big indicator of who's really in the driver's seat here.
So basically, Salarius is being absorbed by Decoy. That's a massive shift for Salarius and their existing investors. Imagine buying in at that 52-week low only to see this kind of surge. You'd be doing cartwheels right now.
Yeah.
But let's back up a bit. Before this merger, Salarius wasn't exactly a Wall Street darling, right?
You're absolutely right. Their recent earnings reports weren't exactly painting a rosy picture. They were reporting significant losses, and their revenue was actually shrinking. Not exactly the kind of growth story that gets investors excited.
So what was it about Salarius that attracted Decoy? Was it a specific drug in their pipeline? Were they just looking for a bargain buy? Help us connect the dots here.
That's the million-dollar question, isn't it? And that's what makes analyzing this merger so intriguing. Despite the losses, Salarius had one key thing going for them, a very strong cash position. They had significantly more liquid assets than liabilities. In financial terms, this is reflected in something called a current ratio, and Salarius had a high one. Basically, they were sitting on a good chunk of cash. Yeah, that cash might have been really appealing to Decoy. Maybe they saw it as a way to fuel their own ambitious growth plans. This deal could give them access to resources that would have taken years to build up on their own.
That makes a lot of sense. It's like the old saying, sometimes you need to spend money to make money.
Yeah.
But let's talk about the future. What does this merger mean for the new company moving forward? What are they actually planning to do?
This is where it gets really exciting. The merged company has announced plans to file an investigational new drug application for a pan-coronavirus antiviral within the next year. And that's a huge potential market, especially with the ongoing concern about emerging infectious diseases.
Wow, a pan-coronavirus antiviral? That could be a game changer, especially if it's effective against a wide range of coronaviruses, not just the ones we're familiar with. We've all seen what can happen when a new virus emerges. This is a market with massive potential. And it's no wonder investors are excited.
Absolutely. And it's not just about addressing a current need. The development of a pan-coronavirus antiviral could provide a crucial line of defense against future outbreaks. This isn't just about treating the symptoms of a known virus, but potentially preventing a pandemic before it even begins.
That's a powerful thought. It shifts the focus from reactive care to proactive prevention. And that kind of innovation really resonates with investors who are looking for companies that are not just solving today's problems, but also anticipating tomorrow's challenges.
Exactly. And the merged company isn't putting all their eggs in one basket. They're also planning to continue developing Salarius's existing cancer therapies. So they've got this two-pronged approach, tackling infectious diseases on one hand and battling cancer on the other.
So a diversified approach. That's usually a good sign for investors, right?
Absolutely. It helps spread out the risk. If one area faces setbacks, the other could still drive growth. This kind of diversification makes the combined company more attractive to a wider range of investors, which, as you can imagine, could lead to even more positive momentum for the stock price.
Okay, so let's bring this back to our listeners who are following along, maybe even thinking about adding SLRX to their portfolios. What should investors be watching for as this story unfolds? What are the key things to pay attention to?
Well, first and foremost, keep a close eye on future developments, things like clinical trial results, especially for that pan-coronavirus, antiviral, and regulatory updates. These are going to be crucial indicators of the merged company's progress and can significantly impact investor confidence, which of course can move the stock price.
Right, those are the big milestones that can make or break a company in the pharmaceutical space.
Yeah.
But investing in this industry is inherently risky, isn't it?
It absolutely is. Drug development is a long, complex, and expensive process. There's always the possibility of setbacks, delays, and unexpected results. Not every promising drug candidate makes it to market.
So a healthy dose of caution is always a good idea. What else should investors keep in mind?
Don't forget the broader market context. Even with promising products and a solid strategy, a company's stock price can be influenced by factors that are completely outside of their control. Things like overall market sentiment, interest rates, and the economy in general. All of these can influence how investors behave and how they value a company.
That's a great reminder that even the best companies can be impacted by factors beyond their control. So to sum it all up, what does this all mean for someone who is considering investing in SLRX after this merger?
Due diligence is absolutely paramount. Don't just jump on the bandwagon because the stock surged today. Take the time to thoroughly research Salarius Pharmaceuticals, understand their financial situation, evaluate the potential of their drug pipeline, both the existing cancer therapies and the new antiviral. And most importantly, consider your own investment goals and risk tolerance.
That's great advice. Investing is always a personal journey, and what works for one person might not work for another. This merger has created a fascinating opportunity with the potential for significant rewards. But remember, it's not without its challenges. It's like we always say here on Investing Talk Podcast, knowledge is power. The more you know, the better decisions you can make.
I couldn't agree more, and that's especially true in the world of investing.
So to wrap things up today, we've been talking about Salarius Pharmaceuticals, ticker symbol SLRX, and their massive stock surge after announcing a merger with Decoy Therapeutics. What a story, right? From a 52-week low to a near 200% jump in a single day. But, as we've discussed, there's a lot more to this story than just a flashy headline.
Exactly. Mergers and acquisitions can be complex. This one is particularly interesting because it's not just a simple joining of forces. It's more like Decoy Therapeutics is taking the reins and leveraging Salarius Pharmaceuticals' resources, especially their cash, to accelerate their own growth.
And they've got some pretty ambitious goals, right? A pan-coronavirus antiviral in development. Plus, they're continuing to work on Salarius's existing cancer therapies. That's a lot to keep track of. So the big question on everyone's mind is, where does SLRX go from here? Is this the start of a new growth phase for the stock? Or was today's surge just a knee-jerk reaction to the news?
That's the million-dollar question. And honestly, no one has a crystal ball. But here's what we do know. Investors need to carefully monitor future developments, pay close attention to clinical trial results, especially for that pan-coronavirus antiviral, and watch for any regulatory updates from the FDA. Those are going to be key indicators of the merged company's progress.
Great advice. Don't get caught up in the hype. Do your research and watch for those concrete signs of progress. So, as we say every week here on Investing Talk Podcast, stay informed, stay engaged, and make smart investing decisions.
Absolutely. Knowledge is power, and in the world of investing, that power is in your hands.
Now, before we sign off, don't forget to subscribe to Investing Talk Podcast so you don't miss any of our future episodes. We've got a lot of great content coming your way, including more deep dives into the latest market trends, interviews with industry experts, and actionable investing advice.
And if you enjoyed today's episode, please share it with your friends, family, or anyone who might be interested in this fascinating story. The more people we can reach with this information, the better.
And we always love to hear from our listeners, so leave us a comment and let us know your thoughts on Salarius Pharmaceuticals and this merger. What do you think the future holds for SLRX? Are you bullish or bearish on the stock? We want to hear from you.
Thanks for tuning in, everyone. Until next time, happy investing.
That's a wrap for today's Investing Talk Podcast. We'll catch you next time.